is going on? That is bizarre, dude. What the heck is that, man?
Something strange is happening in New Jersey. The skies are literally buzzing with reports of unidentified objects, sleek, metallic, and impossibly fast. These aren't just distant lights anymore. They're close enough to see. But one man's story just took things to a whole new level. A social media user named Craig claimed that in a quiet corner of rural New Jersey, someone managed to shoot down one of these mysterious aircrafts. He even posted clear details of the crash and shared images of what was inside. You won't believe what was in those pictures. Then, almost as quickly as his story appeared, Craig vanished. His account was deleted, his posts deleted, and no one knows where he is now. So, what's really going on? Who silenced Craig? And what might they be trying to keep hidden? UFO hits New Jersey. New Jersey has become the center of a strange phenomenon. Over the past few weeks, locals have reported sightings of unusual objects in the sky. These aren't your average drones or airplanes. They're car-sized, eerily silent, and capable of movements that seem to defy the laws of physics. While the sightings alone have people buzzing, one event in the rural town of Blairstown has shaken things up even more. Craig, a regular guy with an active social media presence, claimed that one of these UFOs had been brought down. According to Craig, it all started late one night. Residents noticed a glowing craft flying low over the area. Then came the sound, a thunderous explosion that rattled windows and sent shockwaves through the ground. Almost immediately, military helicopters arrived, along with armored vehicles that sealed off the crash site. Craig described the scene as intense and heavily controlled, with no civilians allowed anywhere near it. The captured object. Craig's account wasn't just a casual post. It was vivid, detailed, and filled with descriptions that captured people's imaginations.
Sensitive military installations, and even President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club, where he lives.
He claimed the downed craft was sleek and metallic, about the size of a car, and unlike anything human-made. Witnesses said its surface seemed to shift like liquid metal, and its movements defied explanation. Craig didn't stop at describing the crash. He claimed to have seen, and even captured photos of, something inside the craft. That's when things got even weirder. His post went viral among UFO communities, sparking debates about government cover-ups, alien technology, and what might really be happening in New Jersey's skies. But then, without warning, Craig's online presence disappeared. His account was suspended, his posts wiped clean, and attempts to reach him went unanswered. It's as if someone, or something, wanted his story erased. This sudden disappearance didn't go unnoticed. It set off alarm bells among UFO enthusiasts, many of whom saw it as a deliberate attempt to silence him. Why had Craig's post been wiped so quickly after sharing such explosive claims? Screenshots that won't stay hidden. Although Craig's account was gone, the screenshots of his posts lived on. They became the talk of UFO communities, sparking debates and investigations into what really happened that night near Blairstown. Craig's description of the metallic craft matched other reports coming from across New Jersey. Sleek, car-sized objects that moved in ways no conventional aircraft could. Some thought these were top-secret military projects, while others believed they were of extraterrestrial origin. But one thing stood out. Craig's sudden removal from social media made the mystery even harder to ignore. To many, the timing of Craig's suspension felt far too coincidental. His story aligned with the ongoing wave of UFO sightings in the area, and the heavy military response he described added fuel to the speculation. Helicopters and armored vehicles don't just show up for nothing. Without an official explanation for his account's disappearance, suspicions grew. Was this just a standard social media ban?
I've seen clusters. Last night I saw clusters of about 8 up over here, but normally I see them a little spread out, and they're sporadic.
Or was it something bigger, an intentional effort to bury the truth? Ironically, trying to erase the story only made it more popular. The screenshots of Craig's posts circulated widely, and they became a rallying point for people demanding answers. The more authorities stayed silent, the more the public's curiosity grew. Theories run wild. As Craig's story gained traction, amateur investigators got to work. Some combed through satellite images, hoping to spot signs of a crash site near Blairstown. Others reached out to locals, hoping someone else might have seen or heard something unusual that night. While no concrete evidence emerged, theories started flying. One popular idea was that the craft Craig described was part of a classified military program, possibly an advanced drone or some kind of experimental aircraft. The quick and overwhelming military response certainly supported this idea. Why else would helicopters, armored vehicles, and troops flood the area so quickly? Was this a routine exercise, or were they scrambling to recover something they couldn't afford to let the public see? Military secrets. The combination of unexplained flying objects and rapid military involvement has only deepened the mystery. What started as isolated sightings now seems like part of a coordinated event. The precision and secrecy surrounding these responses raise even bigger questions. When military forces arrive quickly and decisively to lock down areas where UFOs are reported, it's hard not to wonder, what exactly are they protecting? The speed of their deployment and their determination to block access to these sites suggest one thing: the military knows more than they're letting on. One leading theory is that these UFOs aren't alien at all but are cutting-edge military technology. Could these sightings be advanced drones or experimental aircraft undergoing secret tests? It's possible, especially considering the level of effort put into securing these areas. Some believe the military might not be hiding these objects by accident. Instead, the theory goes, they could be deliberately showcasing them.
That goes into the clouds.
Cool. That was cool.
Yeah, it was. It looks like it went like through a portal or something.
Right next to the moon.
If these crafts are indeed human-made, this could be a calculated strategy, a way to send a message, not just to the public, but to rival nations. Just think of what this would mean. A craft that can hover silently, accelerate instantly, and vanish without a trace. Such technology would rewrite the rules of modern warfare. By making these objects visible, the military might be testing public reactions or even demonstrating their capabilities on an international stage. But this approach has its risks. Why would such advanced technology, cloaked in secrecy, be tested in civilian areas? Military operations are usually planned with tight control to avoid unnecessary exposure. Testing groundbreaking tech in populated areas seems reckless unless there's a larger purpose behind it. Psychological warfare. Another possibility is that these sightings are part of a psychological operation. The idea is bold. Use unexplained aerial phenomena to provoke public curiosity, fear, or confusion. Such an operation could serve multiple purposes: measuring public reaction, creating distractions, or even sending covert messages to global powers. If this is the case, the sightings aren't meant to be hidden. Instead, they're staged to spark conversation and speculation. By flooding civilian areas with these mysterious crafts and then responding with overwhelming military presence, those in charge could be shaping a narrative.
If you can hear us, just bring it out, please. Wait, what did you say?
Say to the aliens in the sky, we love you, we welcome you.
We love you. We welcome you.
One designed to leave us questioning what's real. Of course, this theory has its own contradictions. If these crafts are part of a military experiment, why risk exposing them so openly? Military secrecy is crucial to national security, and publicizing such advanced technology seems counterintuitive. Could this be a miscalculation, a deliberate unveiling, or something else entirely? The possibility that these sightings are part of a larger geopolitical strategy can't be ignored. Whether they're drones, alien technology, or psychological tools, one thing is clear: these events are part of a much bigger story. Visitors from another world. If these incidents are part of a larger operation, they could be designed to create a whirlwind of speculation. By capturing the public's attention with mysterious objects in the sky, authorities might be diverting focus from other critical issues or subtly shaping perceptions about modern warfare. But what if the truth is even stranger? What if these objects aren't human-made at all? The erratic flight patterns, their ability to seemingly dissolve into thin air, and the way they shift shapes hint at something far beyond the limits of our engineering. Could these crafts be signs of visitors from another world? The surge in UFO sightings worldwide has raised some serious questions. What exactly are these objects, and where are they coming from? Many of these sightings involve crafts with capabilities that defy everything we know about aerodynamics and propulsion. Unlike experimental military technology, these objects often behave in ways that seem entirely otherworldly. Witnesses report seeing them hover silently, dart through the sky at impossible speeds, or vanish in the blink of an eye. The lack of any visible propulsion system or exhaust trails suggests they might be powered by a technology we can't even begin to understand.
It's gone. No, it's still there. It's still there.
It's hiding in the clouds. I'm zooming in.
That's what my brother said. In the clouds.
Yes, I'm zooming in, babe. I can see the saucers in my zoom.
I know I can see it.
You can see it, Zaid, huh?
Some of the most unnerving sightings occur near sensitive locations: military bases, airliners, even busy cities. Their proximity to these areas has sparked concerns about their purpose. Are they observing, testing, or perhaps signaling something we don't yet understand? What stands out most in these encounters are the incredible feats these crafts perform. They make sharp, sudden turns, hover effortlessly, and accelerate to blinding speeds, disappearing from view in seconds. Such movements aren't just advanced, they seem to defy the very laws of physics. And then there's the matter of shapeshifting. In multiple reports, witnesses describe UFOs morphing mid-flight, shifting from a triangular form to a sphere or even a cylindrical shape in moments. Could this be a form of advanced camouflage, a way to adapt to their environment, or something far more advanced than even our wildest technologies? These extraordinary capabilities have led many to believe these crafts aren't of this world. If they are extraterrestrial, they represent a level of technology light years ahead of anything on Earth. Materials that can shift forms, propulsion systems that leave no trace, and movements that seem to rewrite the rules of physics. These all point to something far beyond human innovation. Whether they're here to observe, explore, or something else entirely, their presence forces us to confront a humbling possibility. We might not be alone, and these visitors could be far more advanced than we ever imagined. More reported sightings than ever. In recent years, the skies above our world have become more mysterious than ever. From bustling cities to quiet rural towns, reports of unidentified flying objects are popping up at an unprecedented rate. Witnesses from every corner of the globe describe eerily similar phenomena. Objects with unusual shapes, often silent, moving with impossible speed, and vanishing without a trace. These sightings are no longer isolated or dismissed as flights of imagination.
Bro, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at this guy. They're spraying the skies.
They form a global pattern too consistent to ignore. What makes this even more fascinating is the nature of these crafts. Eyewitnesses describe objects that don't conform to any known designs, triangular, spherical, or metallic shapes that seem to morph mid-flight. These crafts hover silently in place, make sharp, angular turns that would crush any human pilot, and zip away faster than the eye can follow. For those watching, it's as if the laws of physics no longer apply. The sheer scale and consistency of these reports hint at something monumental. These aren't just isolated events, they're threads in a much larger tapestry. Could it be that these objects are connected, part of some vast, orchestrated phenomenon? And if so, what does it mean for humanity? Visitors or passers-by? The idea that these UFOs could be extraterrestrial isn't new, but it's gaining traction as traditional explanations fall short. Some researchers propose that these beings, if they exist, might be here on a mission of observation. Perhaps they've been silently studying us for years, cataloging our behavior, monitoring our technological growth, and learning everything they can about our world. Others paint a less deliberate picture. These encounters might simply be chance sightings of travelers from distant worlds, explorers whose paths just happened to cross our own. If Earth is part of a grand cosmic highway, then these UFOs might be the equivalent of someone pulling off at a rest stop to take a look around. But why the sudden increase in sightings? Could it be that their interest in us is growing? Or has our ability to observe the skies improved to the point where we're finally catching glimpses of something that's always been there? The questions are as endless as the possibilities.
I gotta count those dogs.
Look at the alien invasion, y'all.
There's no alien invasion.
Yes, it is an alien invasion. What is it? Look at them. They moving in circles at the top. See, the formation on the right, and then they got another formation in the middle.
The most striking detail about these sightings is their consistency. Reports from New Jersey to New Zealand describe crafts with eerily similar features and capabilities. These aren't vague shapes seen in the dark. They're distinct, detailed accounts of objects that defy explanation. This global consistency suggests that these sightings aren't random, but part of a much broader phenomenon. For now, all we have are theories. The idea that these objects are alien crafts is as compelling as it is terrifying. But it's also possible that we're looking at something entirely different, something beyond even our wildest imaginations. Some believe these sightings could be part of an elaborate hoax, a psychological operation designed to manipulate public perception. Others suggest they're witnessing advanced military technology, tested in plain sight to gauge reactions. But neither explanation fully accounts for the strange behavior and unprecedented capabilities of these objects. The truth, whatever it may be, remains out of reach. And yet, the mystery only deepens. With every new sighting, every strange object glimpsed in the sky, humanity inches closer to an answer. The question is whether we'll like what we find. A growing national security concern. The recent surge in UFO sightings has sent shockwaves through the corridors of national security. Once pushed to the fringes of conspiracy theories, these encounters are now commanding the full attention of military officials, scientists, and policymakers. The mysterious crafts, often seen near highly sensitive military installations and in proximity to commercial airliners, exhibit behaviors that defy known technology. They hover silently, accelerate at impossible speeds, and maneuver in ways that challenge the laws of physics. As these sightings increase, so too does the urgency of the questions they raise. What are these objects? Why are they here? And most pressing of all, are they a threat?
Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
The growing number of encounters suggests we may be on the cusp of an extraordinary event, one with the potential to redefine humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. For now, however, this phenomenon remains cloaked in uncertainty, sparking debates that range from the terrestrial to the extraterrestrial. One of the more alarming possibilities is that these crafts belong to foreign adversaries testing advanced technologies in a bold display of power. If this is the case, their presence near sensitive locations could signal survey missions, or worse, preparations for conflict. Yet there are aspects of these sightings that challenge even this explanation. The craft's capabilities, instantaneous acceleration, silent operation, and the ability to elude detection surpass anything known to human engineering. Could they be part of a covert technological breakthrough by another nation? Or are they something far more sinister, a phenomenon that goes beyond human understanding? This uncertainty fuels unease among security officials. While the prospect of foreign adversaries wielding such power is alarming, the alternative, an intelligence that is not of this earth, is even more chilling. A shift in military policy. The United States government has recognized the potential threat these UFOs pose, responding with a dramatic shift in policy. For decades, the approach to unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, was one of passive observation. But now, under a new directive, the military has been authorized to actively engage these objects if they breach restricted airspace. This move, while controversial, underscores the seriousness with which these encounters are being treated. The rules of engagement reflect the belief that these crafts could pose a significant risk, not just to national security, but potentially to global stability.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m.
But this aggressive stance raises critical questions. What if shooting down these UFOs provokes an escalation? Could such actions destroy valuable evidence, robbing us of the opportunity to learn more about their origin and intent? These are risks the military must weigh carefully, as the stakes have never been higher. As investigations into these sightings deepen, a troubling realization is emerging. These objects are unlike anything humanity has ever built. The evidence points to capabilities that stretch beyond the bounds of current science and engineering. These UFOs seem to operate with impunity, slipping into restricted zones without triggering traditional defense systems. Their maneuvers, sharp turns at hypersonic speeds, hovering without visible propulsion, and disappearing at will, defy explanation. Even more perplexing is their silence. They emit no detectable signals, making communication or interception nearly impossible.
But the signal remained. Something was up here.
They're telling us they have a contact on their radar. They don't know what it is. They just have a blip. Well, they've been watching these things, and what he told me is they had been looking at these things as we're driving. He says, sir, we've been tracking these things for about 2 weeks. We had been at sea for 2 weeks. He goes, this is the first time we've had planes airborne. We want you to go see what they do.
If these crafts are human-made, they represent a technological leap so vast, it challenges our understanding of physics. But the notion that these UFOs could be extraterrestrial is pretty terrifying. If their technology is indeed far superior to our own, humanity may be facing an intelligence that has studied us without our knowledge or consent. Some experts speculate that these objects are conducting surveys, mapping our world, and probing our defenses. Their ability to evade detection and neutralize human responses suggests a level of strategic planning that is deeply unsettling. Could they be preparing for a more direct form of contact or conflict? The idea that an advanced civilization could be monitoring Earth raises profound questions about their motives. Are they here as explorers, seeking to understand our species and culture? Or do they see us as a resource, an opportunity, or even a threat? What do they want? If these UFOs are of extraterrestrial origin, their purpose must extend far beyond merely making their presence known. The unsettling possibility arises that these beings have been observing us for far longer than we can imagine. Are we the subjects of an intricate and deliberate survey mission, with our every move quietly documented? Perhaps these visitors are assessing human civilization, evaluating our capabilities, and determining whether or not we are ready or worthy for direct contact. Their technology, so far advanced as to be nearly incomprehensible to us, might allow them to assess not just our physical world, but also our behaviors, cultures, and responses to the unknown.
Let's see if I can get it on camera.
Can you zoom yours? Yours zooms.
No, it doesn't. All right, there it is. I got it on camera.
Oh my God.
Can you zoom in more? There's a cloud.
The thought that these beings might be preparing for some future interaction, be it peaceful or otherwise, is both fascinating and terrifying. If their purpose is peaceful, why the secrecy? If their intent is more ominous, then their deliberate silence becomes even more alarming. One thing, however, is clear: their presence is not random. These entities, whether extraterrestrial or something entirely beyond our understanding, appear to be here with a defined purpose. The answer to humanity's oldest question. For centuries, humans have gazed into the cosmos and wondered if we are alone. From ancient civilizations interpreting celestial phenomena as divine signs to modern scientists scanning the skies with radio telescopes, the search for alien life has always been a part of our collective curiosity. Now, it seems, the answer to that age-old question is closer than ever, and it's far more unsettling than we dare to imagine. These beings are not waiting for humanity to come across them. They are already here. They move among us, hidden in plain sight, their advanced technology allowing them to observe us without detection.
Here's CBS's Tom Hansen.
This is over my house right now. What is that?
What does it mean for humanity to be the observed rather than the observer? The idea that Earth is no longer an untouched world, but rather a focal point for beings from beyond, shifts the narrative of our place in the universe. As these sightings grow in frequency, the question of how to respond becomes increasingly urgent. What happens if humanity does nothing? If these visitors harbor intentions that are not peaceful, our failure to act could jeopardize our future. These crafts demonstrate an unsettling disregard for human-defined boundaries. Their ability to appear and vanish at will, to breach restricted airspace without resistance, suggests a power imbalance so vast that it renders traditional defense measures obsolete. If these visitors intend harm, humanity's current level of technology may be insufficient to protect itself. But what if their actions are merely the first step in a larger plan? Could they be gathering intelligence in preparation for a more invasive phase of their presence? Are they mapping our planet, studying our responses, or identifying weaknesses? The sheer scale of their capabilities forces us to confront these possibilities with an urgency that cannot be ignored.
You know, these drones vary in shape and size, and while we don't know much about where they come from or what, if any, risk they pose, what we do know is that they have a lot of people talking in this community, Mendham, New Jersey.
From reports of triangular crafts to objects that change shape mid-flight, the characteristics of these UFOs defy conventional explanation. Are they here to observe, to learn, or to warn us of something far greater than ourselves? The UFO incident in Blairstown raises big questions. If the object was a military experiment, why was the situation handled with such extreme secrecy? And why was Craig silenced so quickly after his account? These unanswered questions suggest that what happened in Blairstown is not an isolated incident, but part of a much larger phenomenon. If the crafts are of extraterrestrial origin, their presence could mark the beginning of a paradigm shift. Are we ready to face the implications of a universe where we are not alone?
Right? Ooh, there's another one in front of it. 4.
There's 4?
Yeah. Do you see the one right ahead of it? It's like rotating.
From strange lights and flying saucers to objects that vanished into thin air, these UFO videos will absolutely shock you. Starting with the sky full of UFO kites. October 28, 1979 was a big day. It was the Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh Steelers. The game was intense, but something way more bizarre stole the show. During a commercial break, the broadcast suddenly cut to 2 unidentified objects floating over the stadium. And this wasn't just a handful of people seeing things. Over 50,000 fans in the stadium witnessed it too. Now, the official explanation is that some said they were UFO-shaped kites, the kind you'd apparently find at football games. But here's the weird part. If these kites were such a common thing, why did the announcers react like they had never seen anything like it before? They sounded genuinely confused. And when people took a closer look, the objects seemed to be spinning pretty fast and weren't that big, probably about 20 inches across. That could match the size of a kite, but even decades later, no one's been able to say for sure what those things were. Some swear they weren't kites at all, while skeptics insist that's all they were. But what about the strange lights in Virginia?
What is that? What is it?
On November 6th, 2023, someone recorded a strange pattern of lights in the sky moving very slowly. In the video, you can see a single light near the bottom, and to the left of it, 3 more lights forming a triangle. About 40 seconds in, another light pops up from behind the trees, moving in the same direction as the others. And then, toward the end of the clip, 2 more lights appear. So, what's going on here? Are they drones? Personally, I don't think so. Drones usually change direction or return to their launch point, but these lights just kept moving in one direction the whole time. Plus, the person who filmed it never saw them come back. And here's where it gets even weirder. Someone on Reddit from Ohio reported seeing almost the same thing just an hour earlier. They saw a cluster of lights moving across the sky, but at first, they thought it might be Starlink satellites. That theory fell apart when 5 lights zoomed out of sight, and then 3 suddenly reappeared above the tree line in the western sky. Could it be a coincidence? Maybe, but what if it's something more?
Isn't that neat?
Now, let's check out a video from 2013. Details are pretty scarce, except for the fact that it was supposedly filmed somewhere in the US in June of that year. The footage shows a bright object gliding across the sky, and then, out of nowhere, it starts emitting what looks like an electrical discharge. And then, boom, another bright object zips by and disappears behind a tree. Just when you think it's over, another similar object does the exact same thing. And then, the first object just vanishes, completely gone, like it was never there. So what are we looking at here? A planned event? A glitch in the Matrix? The truth is, nobody knows, just like nobody knows what happened. In early January 2007, when 2 up-close photos of a saucer-shaped UFO were taken in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Saucer-shaped UFO in Wisconsin. The first image shows a strange object with several lights glowing underneath, floating in the cloudy sky. Looking closely, there's no clear sign the photo was edited. The blur across the image suggests the object wasn't added digitally. The second photo, taken from a different angle, shows the UFO partly hidden behind tree branches. This makes it even less likely that the image was faked, since placing an object behind detailed shapes without mistakes would be really hard to pull off. Zooming in on the image, the lights underneath the craft look slightly blurred, as if the object was moving slowly. If someone had faked this, they would have had to put in an incredible amount of detail. But here's the strange part. When the sighting was first shared online in 2007, only the date and location were provided. There was no follow-up from the witness and no new information since then. So, the mystery of the Green Bay UFO remains unsolved. What do you think? Could this be real, or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's move on to another strange sighting. On May 2nd, 2019, people in a South Korean neighborhood spotted something unusual in the sky. A local man first noticed 2 bright lights while inside his home. At first, he didn't think much of it, until he stepped outside and saw that his neighbor was also watching, just as confused. The 2 glowing objects had a weird flag-like shape, different from any normal plane. They didn't fly in a straight path, but instead moved unpredictably, blinking in and out of sight and reappearing in different spots. Even more bizarre, they made no sound at all. There were no reports of military exercises or flares that night. Drones seemed like the only possible explanation, but local rules didn't allow drones to fly in the area after dark. People tried to recreate the sighting by launching fireworks and flying drones, but nothing matched what had been seen. Video experts also examined the footage and found no signs of editing. And yet, no one has figured out what these lights actually were. Now, let's move on to another strange event. Red light in the sky. A Reddit user named Hey, It Might Be Eve, captured 3 unusual photos on an otherwise normal night. They were using a tripod to take pictures of the night sky when a strange red light caught their eye. At first, it moved in a straight line at the same speed as an airplane, but then, without warning, it simply vanished. It didn't speed up or fade away. It was just gone. Looking at the photos, the sky is filled with stars, but the red light stands out, zigzagging across the frame. If you're wondering how that motion appears in a still image, it's because of long exposure photography. With the camera's shutter open for an extended time, anything moving leaves a trail, while stationary objects, like stars, stay sharp. Given this, we can rule out meteors or shooting stars as they don't move like this. Planes are also unlikely for the same reason. And here's where things get even more interesting. This wasn't the only time something like this was seen. Another Reddit user reported seeing an orange orb zigzagging through the sky before vanishing in 2021. In a separate case, a couple saw a similar orange object moving erratically before disappearing. Despite efforts from the UFO community to analyze these photos, no one has been able to explain them. This remains another unsolved mystery. Now, let's talk about an even weirder event in South Wales. Aliens in the south of Wales. On September 17, 2016, a police helicopter equipped with heat-seeking cameras picked up something bizarre, a spherical object moving strangely through the sky. What made this even weirder was that the object was flying against the wind at around 106 miles per hour and didn't appear on air traffic control's radar. The officers reported that the object hovered at about 1,000 feet and was completely invisible to the naked eye. It was only visible through the helicopter's thermal camera. At the time, they were testing the camera by tracking planes near Cardiff Airport when they unexpectedly locked onto the unknown object. The footage lasted about 8 minutes, showing the officers adjusting camera settings to get a clearer view. But even with their experience, none of them could figure out what they were looking at. To this day, no one knows what that object was. The cigar-shaped object in Minnesota. In 2023, a city in Minnesota suddenly became the center of national attention. The reason was that a cigar-shaped object was caught on camera flying over a Minnesota airport at an incredible speed. When experts took a closer look at the footage, they saw a solid white, oblong-shaped object with rounded edges and a smooth surface. Just before 7 p.m. that evening, the area's emergency communication center started receiving multiple reports of a loud explosion and a bright flash lighting up the sky. People from nearby counties also reported seeing, hearing, and even feeling the incident, adding more weight to the story. Then, a second video surfaced. This one was from a security camera. It showed the same mysterious object, followed moments later by a deafening boom. The timing of the explosion matched reports from emergency centers across several counties, making it clear that whatever happened wasn't just in one place. To this day, no one has been able to explain what that object was or what caused the explosion. Now, it's time to take a closer look at some pretty fascinating footage. At first, we thought it was just another badly made hoax, one of those blurry, shaky videos that turn out to be nothing special, and we almost ignored it completely. But as we dug deeper into the details, our opinion started to change. The video shows what looks like a saucer-shaped object flying right next to an aircraft. There's not a lot of information available, but some believe the plane in the footage might be a fighter jet. The strange part is that no one really knows when this footage was recorded. The earliest known upload to YouTube was in 2008, but that doesn't mean it was filmed that year. In fact, the most likely theory suggests it was recorded sometime between 2003 and 2006. There are two key details that point to this time frame. First, if you look closely, you can see the reflection of a camcorder lens in the cockpit glass. That suggests whoever filmed this was using an old-school video camera, not a modern digital device. Second, there's a faint yellow line at the bottom of the video, which is a common sign of analog to digital conversion. Basically, it looks like this footage was originally recorded on a tape and later transferred to digital format. If it had been shot in 2008, it probably would have been captured with a digital camera or even a phone, which were already common by then. Unfortunately, that's where the trail goes cold. There aren't many other clues to go on, and no one has come forward with additional details. That leaves us with more questions than answers about what could be one of the most fascinating UFO videos ever captured. But that's not the only mystery worth talking about. The strange footage from Cali. Let's move over to California, where a series of photos surfaced showing what appears to be a classic flying saucer. The exact date of these photos is unknown, but they were posted online by a Reddit user who claimed an elderly man took them from his balcony. The photos are a little grainy, but they still clearly show a disc-shaped object with glowing red lights and what look like windows. It's the kind of UFO people have been describing for decades, the typical flying saucer we all imagine when we think about extraterrestrials. And here's where things get even more interesting. A completely separate witness in a totally different state reported seeing something eerily similar years earlier. This happened in Washington back in 2015. According to the witness, they were driving east on I-90 from Seattle to Wallace, Idaho, with a friend when they saw a massive flash of light directly over the highway. It was so bright that it blinded them for a moment. And when their vision cleared, they saw something unbelievable, a gigantic silent craft hovering about 40 to 50 feet off the road, right in front of them. The witness described it in incredible detail. It had no visible doors or windows, but it was surrounded by strange red and purple lightning-like energy, almost as if electricity was sparking all around it. But the strangest part? It didn't make a single sound. No engine noise, no hum, nothing. It simply hovered there for a moment before moving away, floating over a mountain ridge with no visible propulsion. The witness estimated the craft was between 200 to 300 feet wide. Absolutely massive. Now, here's where things get even more messed up. The California photos show a craft that looks almost exactly like the one from the Washington sighting. Could this be the same object seen years apart in two different states? Or are there multiple crafts of the same type flying around? Considering how clear the photos are, and the fact that multiple witnesses have reported seeing such a craft, this case takes on an extra layer of credibility. If these images and testimonies are real, then what exactly are we looking at? Could this truly be something from another world? Or is it possible that what we're seeing is actually part of a top-secret military project? Either way, there's no denying that these encounters are some of the most compelling UFO sightings we've seen. Whatever these objects are, they aren't easily explained, and they leave us with one big, unanswered question. What's really going on in our skies? Up next, we're rewinding to 2007 in Turrialba, Costa Rica. The buzzing sound in Costa Rica. It was around 4 p.m. when a young carpenter named Marvin was busy working on a construction site. Everything seemed normal, until a strange buzzing sound cut through the air, catching his attention.
William, William.
Curious, he looked up, trying to locate the source of the noise. What he saw left him stunned. About 100 meters away, hovering just above the ground, was an object unlike anything he had ever seen before. Acting quickly, Marvin reached for his Motorola V3 phone and started recording. While filming, he repeatedly called out to a coworker operating a drill nearby, hoping someone else would witness what he was seeing. But the loud noise from the drill drowned out his voice, and his colleague never heard him. Then, in the blink of an eye, the object simply vanished. The footage Marvin captured on his phone clearly shows what appears to be a classic flying saucer, floating silently just a few meters off the ground. Based on his estimate, the craft was about the same size as the wheel of a large tractor, small but undeniably strange. Later, his co-worker, William Rivera, confirmed that Marvin was visibly shaken after the encounter, struggling to make sense of what had just happened. The Acorn UFO. In October 2018, another bizarre UFO sighting made its way onto the internet. 2 separate videos surfaced online, showing an unusual object in broad daylight. But what made this sighting even more mysterious was how quickly the first video disappeared. Just a few days after being uploaded, it was taken down, making it an obscure and rarely discussed incident for years. Then, in 2024, the footage resurfaced on Reddit, where it was given a fitting nickname, the Acorn UFO. The video shows a weird acorn-shaped craft hovering motionless in the sky before suddenly vanishing behind the treetops. But that wasn't all. A second video, supposedly filmed from a different angle, captured the same object, adding more credibility to the sighting. However, there's still a lot of confusion about where exactly this incident took place. Some claim it happened over Catemaco, Mexico, while others argue it was recorded in Waianae, Hawaii. With conflicting reports and no definitive proof, the exact location remains a mystery. Since its reappearance on Reddit, the Acorn UFO has sparked countless online debates. Some believe it could be extraterrestrial, while others think it might be a classified military craft. Yet, despite all the speculation, no official explanation has ever been provided. To this day, the origin and purpose of the acorn-shaped object remain unknown, leaving yet another UFO case without a solid conclusion. This next incident takes us to Pacifica, California, on the night of September 6, 2022. Back to Cali. The event was captured by a security camera overlooking the streets near Maury Point. At first, everything in the footage appears completely normal, just a quiet night with no signs of anything unusual. But then, out of nowhere, a bright light suddenly appears in the sky. As the camera continues rolling, the object's movements become increasingly bizarre. It zips through the air, making sharp turns at unnatural angles, flashing on and off, and moving at extreme speeds. At first glance, the logical explanation would be that it's just a drone. But then, just before the recording ends, the object does something even stranger. It makes a rapid, almost vertical descent, emits an incredibly bright flash of light, and then vanishes completely, never to be seen again. This raises a lot of questions. Could a drone really behave like this? Drones are capable of fast movements, but the erratic, almost physics-defying flight pattern of this object seems unusual even by drone standards. And what about that final descent and flash? That's not something most commercial drones are known for. What do you think? Personally, I don't think it was a drone. Then, on November 6, 2023, another strange sighting took place, this time over Illinois, in broad daylight. Illinois, watch out. A long, cigar-shaped object was seen hovering slowly in the sky, and luckily, someone managed to capture it on video. At first, one might assume it's a blimp, but upon closer inspection, the object appears far too elongated and flat to fit that description. To make things even weirder, when the footage is zoomed in, another common explanation, an airplane, can also be ruled out. There are no wings, no tail, and no visible engines. What's even more interesting is that this object looks eerily similar to one that was spotted in Minnesota earlier. When comparing both sightings side by side, the objects appear almost identical, aside from some differences in speed. Could this mean they're connected? Were these two sightings of the same mysterious craft on different days? Or are we looking at multiple unidentified objects with similar designs? With both planes and blimps already ruled out, what could this object be? A secret military aircraft? An experimental drone? Or could it be something else entirely? Something we still don't have the technology to explain. The final one. On the night of December 12, 2023, at 11:25 p.m., something strange happened in Oroville, California. It was during the Geminid meteor shower, a time when people usually see shooting stars. But for one person, the night sky showed something very different. While watching the meteors, the witness noticed strange glowing orbs high above, blinking in a random pattern. These lights kept appearing for almost an hour. At around 11:30 p.m., an airplane passed by, making a slight noise. But when the plane was gone, the orbs were still there, blinking silently. The quietness made the whole thing even more eerie. At first, the witness thought the lights might be fireflies, but that didn't make sense. The orbs were too high in the sky, and it was too cold for fireflies to be out. Then, something even weirder happened. Dogs in the area started barking for no reason. Many people believe that animals can sense things humans can't, and barking dogs are often reported in UFO sightings. Things got even stranger when the orbs moved into different shapes, including a triangle. The witness knew they weren't Starlink satellites because those move in a straight line. These lights moved in strange, unpredictable ways. But despite how mysterious this event was, not many people have talked about it, and no one knows what it really was.